If you are thinking about moving to Louisiana, you will not want to miss this video. Hi, I'm Sharon Dallalio, and I am a local realtor here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I'm super excited today to talk to you about the differences between North Louisiana and South Louisiana, because I was actually born and raised in North Louisiana, and I have been living in Baton Rouge for about 25 years. So this is an exciting topic because there's so many differences between North Louisiana and South Louisiana. It's like two completely different countries almost. So let's get to it. The first thing is the culture that we're going to talk about. North Louisiana is primarily Baptist, Methodist, Presbyterian, and South Louisiana is dominantly like Catholic, so that's a major difference there. A lot of people, when they're thinking about North Louisiana, the first thing that comes to their mind is Duck Dynasty. Y'all, we are all not like the people on Duck Dynasty, I promise you. Another difference is our accents. I have a North Louisiana accent. I do not have a South Louisiana accent. My accent is more, we would describe it more like drawn out. Some people call it country, whatever you want to call it, but we definitely do not have the Cajun accent. And actually in Louisiana, in different areas in South Louisiana, you get a mixture of accents that are Cajun, Acadiana, Creole. So there's a totally different, according to what area you are from, different accents all over Louisiana. So another thing is football. We all love our football in Louisiana, but in North Louisiana, they like the Saints, LSU football, but they also like a lot of North Louisiana likes the Dallas Cowboys. Go figure. I don't understand that. South Louisiana is all about those Saints. Who dat? They love the Saints and the LSU. They love it. So that's the difference between North and South. Typically in North Louisiana on Sundays, fact, you cannot buy alcohol on Sundays in certain parts in North Louisiana. However, South Louisiana, everything's open. You can go and buy alcohol or whatever, go have a beer on Sundays in South Louisiana. And when I first moved to South Louisiana, I thought that was the strangest thing that people would actually drink on a Sunday. I no longer think that anymore, but so that's a major difference. Totally was a culture change shock for me whenever I moved here. But people in Louisiana will just drive across the bridge, the Natchez, Mississippi bridge, if they really wanted something to drink, and just go into Natchez because you could buy beer in Mississippi on Sundays. So they would adapt if they needed to. Also, we have daiquiri, drive-through daiquiri places. Mostly in North Louisiana. There may be some in South Louisiana. I have not seen them. I'm not saying they're not here, but they do have daiquiri, drive-through daiquiri places. That's nice. If it's raining, you can just drive through and get a drink. And the way they get by with that, because a lot of people out of state say, do y'all really have drive-through daiquiri places? Yes, we do. But what they do is they put the top on it, but you cannot put a straw in it. So as long as the top's on it and there's no straw inserted in, you do not have an open container according to their laws. So that's how they do that. So another thing is our weather is completely different as well. Yes, in the summer it's just hot. Everywhere is hot in Louisiana. But in the winter, North Louisiana can be 20, 30, 40 degrees higher than the temperature in South Louisiana. North Louisiana, you get more snow and sleet, ice storms. South Louisiana, yes, it snows from time to time, rarely, but it snows. We usually only get about 2 months of cold here in South Louisiana, which they get a lot longer in North Louisiana as well. So it definitely gets in the teens in North Louisiana for sure. So let's talk about hurricanes and tornadoes. There is a difference. South Louisiana wins that one hands down for the being off of the coast right there in New Orleans area, we get a lot more hurricanes. North Louisiana typically doesn't not get hurricanes, but they do get a lot of tornadoes. And so I would say they probably win versus South Louisiana on the tornadoes. Over the years, North Louisiana has had some major damage from the tornadoes. So that would be a difference, is the tornadoes. Also, the seasons, the changing of colors, the 4 seasons, you get that more in North Louisiana, seeing the leaves turn on the trees. But we don't see that here in South Louisiana. It's just green or brown. There is no season where the leaves are changing colors. So it's typically, we don't get the 4 seasons that North Louisiana gets. Let's talk about the food. North Louisiana, being from North Louisiana, both North and South, come from big hunters, but I would say North Louisiana is known more for like their fried food, for like the catfish, squirrels, frog legs, deer meat, potatoes, sweet potatoes, those type of things, because North Louisiana is a huge farming land as well. You have a lot of land in North Louisiana. So where South Louisiana is known, as we all know, the good Cajun food, the gumbos, Cajun and Creole, gumbos, the etouffees, the sauce pecan, the bisque, beignets, so all that South Louisiana food, crawfish, but they do have that in North Louisiana, but typically it's made a little differently. Everybody has their own variation, but it is typically made a little different in North Louisiana than South. Both are still good, but just made a different, the salsas and the roux is made a little bit different. So let's talk about the terrain. You have rolling hills in the north, swamp and bayou in the south. The terrain starts to shift in the middle of the state, and if you've ever taken a hike through the Kisatchie National Forest, you will be surprised of how hilly that is. So you have a lot of hills in North Louisiana and just bayous and swamps in South Louisiana. You also have North Louisiana, you have, the farms, the big hunt lands, and you also have some fishing because we have the Mississippi River, the Ouachita River that runs through North Louisiana, the Red River. But in South Louisiana, you have more saltwater fishing. It's a big shrimpers, shrimp, I don't want to say lobster, but more like crabs and things like that in South Louisiana. South Louisiana also is a big import-export area where you have the Mississippi River that feeds into the coast. So you have a lot of the big barges that come and offload and load in the ports as well out of New Orleans. So let's talk about the fun stuff, our festivals here. North Louisiana has their share of festivals as well. But I would say South Louisiana hands down wins as far as the festivals go, because you have Mardi Gras, you have the Jazz Fest, French Quarter Festival, which the French Quarter Festival is probably one of my favorite because it's on a smaller level. It's gotten really popular over the years, and it's a lot of people still come and go to the French Quarter Festival, but it's not crazy like Jazz Fest. So if you're looking for a festival to go to, I would highly suggest the French Quarter Festival in New Orleans when it comes. North Louisiana has the festivals, but it's smaller scale. They have all the parades, the Christmas parades, the Mardi Gras parades. It's quaint, it's hometown feeling, and it's just good energy as well, but just not the elaborate floats and things like that in North Louisiana. You also have your music. So our music is going to be different as well. In North Louisiana, you're going to have a lot of country music. You're going to have some swamp pop music, some funk, and you will hear a lot of blues in North Louisiana too, but New Orleans, you're going to hear so much more. You know, it's the Cajuns, it's the Creoles, it's the Zydeco music. Then you have the Cajun and the Creole music, which is the rhythm and blues. So it's a mixture of the Cajun and Creole. It's called the swamp pop music. Then you're gonna have, like, you have Frenchman Street, New Orleans, where you can go hear all the New Orleans music. It's a great place to go if you're in New Orleans. In North Louisiana, they have a lot of country music festivals as well as Central Louisiana too, a lot of country music festivals. So that's the major difference between North Louisiana and South Louisiana in the music. So also in Louisiana, every region of the state has its own unique traditions, and these differences that give Louisiana the cultural diversity that it's famous for. So I hope you enjoyed this video on North Louisiana versus South Louisiana. And if you're thinking about moving to the Louisiana area, I would love to help you make your move go as smoothly as possible. We can jump on a Zoom call, text me. I would love to talk to you. Also, if you're thinking about moving to the Baton Rouge area or any other area, you may want to watch my next video on 10 things you should know before moving to Baton Rouge.